The Digital Circles Podcast, giving a voice to Northern Ireland's business network, brought to you by Private Label People, with your host, Paul Mooney.
Hello everyone, welcome again to our latest episode. Today's guest takes us into the world of combat sports with one of the most inspiring figures in the industry. Our guest today is former world kickboxing champion Ian Young. But Ian's journey isn't just about personal triumph. It's about inspiring others to chase their dreams and never settle for anything less than their best. Through his experiences, Ian has become not only a champion in the ring, but also a role model for aspiring athletes outside of it. So join us as we step inside the ring with Ian Young and discover the heart, soul and relentless spirit of a true Northern Irish kickboxing legend. Here we go, another podcast and another great guest. Today we have Ian Young with us. Ian, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
It's no problem. Happy to be here.
How's your day been so far? Productive?
Day's been very good. Busy. I always get a little bit of time in the afternoon to, I was going to say switch off. I can't switch off. You're back on the laptop whenever you finish in the gym coaching. So it's always pretty full on, but it's the best way to be. Good.
It's am I right in saying you do some gym work still with sort of physical people who come in physically, but you also do a lot online now? Is that correct?
I do. To be fair, it's probably half and half now. Okay. I think that's changed massively, and obviously what happened a few years ago changed a lot of people in my industry and how they worked, where a lot of people did transition online. So I do still have quite a lot of people that are in the gym with me, and I still do run my classes, but they're somewhat streamlined compared to what they used to be. So it's about a good half and half.
And for people who don't know, we're actually recording this in Saintfield, your hometown.
It is indeed, yeah. And
your studio is in Saintfield, is that right?
It is indeed, yeah. Okay. I have it here. It's actually just attached to the house, so it is a double garage basically that has been extended a little bit at the front with decking over the hills, and it's a nice space to have. It's nice and bright, and it's very private and very quiet for people.
Great. And during times gone past, so obviously we had the COVID situation, the pandemic, which affected a lot of people in the fitness industry. How did it affect you? What changed?
Before COVID, I would have been 100% in terms of coaching on a one-to-one or even a small group. The majority of my income back then probably would have been from large group classes, which I did down in Rathmore, and I've done that. I've been there for almost 15 years. I did boxing classes as well down in Conway Mill, so I would have had 3 of those on during the week, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday mornings for the boxing. And then on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings, we would have had those large sessions on, and on a Monday to Thursday we would have been in 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. So over the course of that week, before COVID, we would have had 130 people a night doing sessions, and obviously now that's, once COVID hit, that completely changed, and there was people that were there who've been with me for 10 years, 15 years, all of a sudden just left and haven't been back. So COVID had a massive impact on people, more so mentally, I think. Some people found it really hard, and certainly since I've come back, I've found the numbers are nowhere near what they were, and we only actually do one class on a Monday and a Thursday now, but that has been replaced by working online.
Okay. And now that you're working online, is it a more widespread clientele base, if you like, in terms of, do you get people from more far off shores? Or?
Yeah, well, I would actually, so I do live sessions as well every morning, which I kind of like. It keeps me accountable as well. That means I can train while I work, which is good. So, and we've got people in Australia, New Zealand, we've got people even in India and Germany that they'll either do it on demand or in catch up, or they train live. So I train live every morning, basically Monday through to Friday, and they're only really half-hour sessions. But that was one thing that I kind of wish I had transitioned into that immediately when COVID hit, because it would have been a massive factor for me. But that took us probably until the second lockdown that happened. The first lockdown that happened immediately. I think I didn't work for the first 2 days. I think generally people were in shock. They felt like certainly for me, it felt like a rug had been pulled from under my feet, and I was going, what do I do now? But we transitioned really quick, and we offered online programs to people. And within, for me, going from no clients online, within, I think, 6 weeks, we had about 380 online clients.
Fantastic.
And, COVID for a lot of people was pretty rough, and it was hard to get through. But it was probably the busiest time of my life.
Okay.
So far in work, it was pretty relentless every single day.
Well, you showed great business ability there and being able to shift. You sort of pivoted really.
Yeah, I think you have to pivot at times, because things can change so quick and change so fast, and I suppose having the ability to do that, certainly for me, it massively helped. I think the first 2 days was really scratching your head, right, what can we do here? What can we offer? And we offered those programs. Looking back on that, I think possibly they were very cheap, because all of a sudden everybody, this massive influx of money from grants and everything else, and I think that's maybe why the membership grew really, really fast and really quick, and that's why I do kind of wish I had the website developed for the live online program or the live workouts at the very start, but it served its purpose and was very good and worked well for people, kept people in touch with their fitness and in touch with other people. Even though it was online, it gave people a sense of belonging to something, which I think a lot of people did lose.
Yeah, as you say, during COVID, so many people lost big elements of their life, whether it was just going down to your local pub to have a pint with your friends, or going to the gym, whatever it might have been, or playing five-a-sides with your mates. That was a big thing. But your website, it's Ian Young Online.
It is indeed,
That's
yeah.
correct,
It is,
So anybody's interested, they should go on there and look. And I know you do different classes, and you've other elements. You cover all elements really within fitness. You've nutritionists, you've people like that.
Yeah, there's people there. So we do. There's Pilates, there's yoga. We do strength conditioning in there. There's nutrition in there as well. So it's all in there for people. It's not too intense at all. It's a nice. We actually built the website ourselves, which I'm actually quite proud of. Myself and one of my best friends. So I'm actually quite proud we did that ourselves.
I've been on it. Looks good.
So I know, but Wix is a nice wee tool to have to build a website. So it was it did work quite well, and I'm quite proud of that.
You'll get your royalty payments from Wix there, yeah.
Tag them in.
But fitness has obviously been a huge part of your life from you were very, very young. And I think I read at 15 you went for work experience with Mary Peters' gym.
I did. Mary Peters, she had a gym in Railway Street in Lisburn, and I went there for work experience, and from there she asked me back to work like one night a week, and then I ended up working there for quite a few years, and I still see her the odd time, and I was going to say it's like 30 years ago now, but which is too long. But I work with Mary Peters and Mike Bull as well, who was a Commonwealth athlete as well. He had a gym down in Belfast, at Belfast City Hall. There's a bar now called Margot's, used to be the busman's bar or club. Right above there, there's a big gym that was it was the Ulster Squash Association, I think, in there, and it was a great spot as well. But there were two really good people to work for, and both of them were high class athletes, and they still had that. They're still very driven. Even back then, I remember they were obviously, well, they're probably about my age now, but they were so every day was that they were just relentless. That they had to either train, had to look after themselves, had to get this done, get that done, and I always remember that with them. The two of them were, and I think that's probably why they made it where they did.
Yeah, it's you find that in athletics and in business, people who have that get things done mentality tend to thrive. And That was a fantastic opportunity for you at 15 years of age to go and train with former Olympians and these people. You must have been a little bit starstruck.
Because my mum and dad always said Mary Peters was the golden girl, and absolutely. I think everybody still sees her as that. Yeah. And she's good to work for. Yeah. So she always took no nonsense.
But, obviously, you impressed there. You did well there, but. In the background, you're also a keen footballer. Football was your life. You were really
I was into football. I always played for Saintfield here in the village. It's been my only amateur team, so I was playing for them from about 9 years of age, and then just played the whole way through. And then I got asked to go down to Crusaders at the age of 16. So I played a couple of games in the first team at Saintfield, probably about half a season, and then I went down to Crusaders, and I was there for a good few years, and then signed for Linfield and spent about 4.5 years there, which was very good. In between that, I'd gone to Singapore and New Zealand to play for a season.
Okay.
So it was good. It was good for me in terms of seeing a little bit of the world. And I do admit, I retired pretty early. I stopped at probably 24, 25, and if I'm on it, I've said this to people before who have asked me. I think if I'm honest with myself, I don't think I worked hard enough back then. I just thought everything would sort of come to me, and that had a massive impact on my life as well, because I knew my feelings on the football pitch were probably all down to me, because I didn't apply myself the way I should have applied myself, and I didn't think that at the time. It wasn't until after it was all over I was going, I've missed the opportunity there, and I should have worked harder. I should have been more disciplined, to go and do a little bit extra, because that's what it takes in everything, in business and sport and life. To be as successful as that, you have to put the effort in.
Yeah, you really do. What do you think it shaped you in some way whenever you went into kickboxing? Do you think
I think it. I do think deep down that I had something to prove, and more so to myself, because I knew I'd let myself down. I failed at the end. I think it's time for Linfield, and I was at the cruise, and it's time for Linfield, and I just thought, this is great. Everything's rosy. I've made it, but you haven't made it.
Well, you've obviously had a big expectation of yourself to feel that way. Some players would look at it and say, I was really successful. You won multiple Irish leagues, you won Irish Cups.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I did win was the Bass Irish Cup. Unfortunately, it was the only thing I never won. But League Cups and Gold Cups, County Shields, it was great. It was a great time. And I think back then, being in that success, I maybe thought this isn't going to end, because this is great. You're here now. I'm going to stay here for the next 10 years, and that didn't happen. And I do think that was down to not that I was arrogant in any shape or form. I just thought I'd made this, and I didn't work hard enough to make this last longer. And I think I felt afterwards that I'd really let myself down a good bit, and I was determined when I went into the kickboxing, when I went into that if I wanted to be successful, it was down to me.
And you went into kickboxing, am I right in saying about a week after you decided you were quitting?
1 week after football? I retired from football one Saturday, and the next Saturday I walked into Billy Murray's pro kick gym, which was a tin shed, and literally that was me for the next, literally every day for the next maybe 10 years or longer, 12 years.
And you had your first fight within, 3 months of that?
3 months over in Aberdeen in Scotland. A guy called Siggy Ferguson, I still remember his name. He worked on an oil rig. He was from Fraserburgh, and they're tough over there. Yeah. Man, they're tough. So so I actually I got beat my first fight, as far as I know. I do, yeah, I got beat. It just felt like he had hands of stone. So my wee boy, he's 12. He's got his first fight here in 3 weeks' time.
Amazing.
So we'll see how he goes.
Oh, Danny, you got beaten the first fight, but it obviously didn't put you off.
No, it didn't, because it just sort of thought to myself, like, I thought I've only been really doing this for 3 months. And I get done stuff when I was younger, and a wee bit of boxing, martial arts and stuff and things like that. So, and I wouldn't have been, not well, on the football pitch anyway, I wouldn't have been too shy about having a bit of a scrap with somebody. That was just the sort of character I was.
The teams you played in, I don't think you had any other option. You had people like Kirk Hunter and Sid Burrows.
Especially the Crews, all those boys. That was a good team to be involved in. Great team.
Did that build your character, being in changing rooms, do you feel, at the likes of Linfield and Crusaders?
Yeah, definitely, because I think there's a lot of big characters in there, and it's easy to get lost in there. And I wouldn't have been sort of out there, sort of more or less kept myself to myself. But I did. That's one thing I did miss, was that camaraderie in a changing room. And kickboxing, even though you're in that gym, it's still quite. It's about you, it's you, and that's it. Where in the team environment, it's about the team, and you do miss that with the players. But we still meet up now. I still play for Linfield Legends. We play matches for charity, and even though I can't walk for 4 days after, because it's just muscles you haven't used for about 25 years. But it's literally like stepping back in time and going back 25 years when you play it, because everything's still the same. People still give each other banter, and it's, and that's good. And that's one element I did miss. But I remember I stopped playing football. I never, even TV, I didn't watch a football game on TV for 15 years probably. Okay. Just, it didn't interest me at all.
Is that because you had a new obsession, which was kickboxing, or did you just fall in?
I think I'd fallen out with football, and probably I'd fallen out with myself. The fact that I'd let that happen. And I genuinely didn't, and I mean this, and the only game I did go to watch within that space time was my best friend Chris Morgan. He finished up with Dungannon Swifts, and he's playing at Seaview, and I went down to see his last game.
Okay.
And that was with my wee boy, and that was the only game I'd gone to see since I'd stopped. And he'd probably played another 12 years after me, longer probably.
Okay. Well, kickboxing has been a theme of your life for the last. You retired when you were 36, is that right?
30,
so
yeah,
probably
36,
20
37.
Years.
Yeah, so it was in it was a big part of my life, and it was a great part as well, because it took a lot of discipline. Like you get up every morning, 4:30 or 5, do your run every day, make sure it's there, and that I kind of like that element to it. If you don't do it, then you don't do it. It's down to you. Because there's always, I was always drilled in me, there's always somebody out there who's working harder than you. And that's, and that's a good mentality to have. And I keep saying that to my wee boy Jude, there's always somebody out there who's always working harder.
Well, that discipline you had, you were rewarded for it because you became world kickboxing champion.
Yeah, it was in the Waterfront Hall, which was sold out in 2011, I think, or 2010 was it? It was that was a great thing. It was a fantastic night. Even to have that venue completely sold out was fantastic. And I fought a guy from Anjay Morricone from Corsica for that, and they threw the towel in the third round. I would have been strong in the legs, obviously, from football, so I wouldn't have been a great boxer. I was okay in the hands, but on the legs was pretty heavy. So and he couldn't his legs were gone, and I think I've watched the fight back a few times, and I think I'd hit him in the same spot about 27, 28 times. The same leg and the same kick, and just legs going by stage. And so I won that, and then I was invited to go to Lisbon, and I was a European K1. So they had I was over there. There's a guy from Russia, French guy, 2 Portuguese fighters. So all these guys around Europe, they're all converged for the European K1, and it was in Benfica Stadium. Mm-hmm. So they've actually got this stadium under the pitch that holds about 8,000 people. They do it for handball. Like handball over there is huge, and they do netball and volleyball and stuff. But it's under the stadium. So we fought in there. I took a knee to the head in the first minute of the fight, and I can't remember the whole fight. I just skipped round, but I knew taking a knee, and I was out through the ropes. And I obviously lost that first fight, which means you were out. So after that, I'd had enough, and I think not had enough. It was a big ask at that stage. You know, where I was getting married and starting a family, and it's a massive commitment that sort of eats into that. And I think it'd probably been selfish for too long in terms of expecting this to happen and go on, and I just do my own thing, and you know, I would have to have other responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it would have worked the same.
You obviously, you know, you'd been doing it for 10 years at that stage almost, and that's a long time to put your body through that.
Yeah, well, I would have fought at either 69 kilo or 72. So I'd walk, but I was basically 10 stone 10, which is
light.
It's about the size of that light stand. It's tiny, but I would walk around naturally about 13 and a half stone. So if you had 5 or 6 fights a year, you know, that was tough for me.
Yeah.
And the older you get, it gets tougher, man. Yeah. Really does.
Some of the good food establishments you have here in St. Field,
it's
a struggle.
Listen, they're not good. There's a lot of nice buns and sandwiches about, but yeah. So it was just getting tough, and I remember thinking, the last couple of fights, goodness, it's getting really hard, you know. And for me to get down to that weight, it was literally a tin of tuna, some leaves and grapes for your meals to get down, and looking back, like, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
But then that lifestyle on those weight cuts isn't healthy anyway. You know, and a lot of people do it the wrong way, and probably looking back then, I didn't particularly do it the right way, but it was pretty savage at times.
What do you feel? You obviously work with young fighters now.
Yeah, a lot of young athletes there. So there's a lot of footballers, swimmers, hockey players, rugby players. Yeah, there's some really good athletes.
And what do you see in a young person now, or what do you advise them will set them apart? Is it sheer hard work?
It's hard work, discipline, and being consistent with that discipline. It's discipline. You either do it or you don't do it, and that's not only in the training. And I know I harp on about them about they eat well, they hydrate well, they sleep well. And I think now for me, we're all probably the same. You got kids, like all they want to do at night time, they'd be on their phone, or they're on their tablet, or they're on their PlayStation, things like that. Where, like, I've got a wee boy as well, and you know, he know well, he would put up a little bit of a fight, but he knows ultimately he's going to lose because I get that.
The wrong person,
but they're the same, and the kids now, they're like, some of them will stay up to 12, 1 o'clock in the morning on their phones. And listen, it's not, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, it's not really the kids' fault. The parents should be letting that happen.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this, take the phone off them. Just take the phone away off them, get them in. If they want to be the best they can be, they've got to give themselves every opportunity for that to happen. And sometimes you've got to be a little bit harder on them to do that. If they're the ones that are saying, you give them the option, if they want to do this, and I keep saying, you've got to make these little small sacrifices for that to happen. You know, it all goes back to there's somebody else out there that's working harder. They're the ones that are prepared to make those sacrifices, and sometimes it's those little fine margins, like lack of sleep. When you wake up the next morning, you're sluggish, you're tired, you go out, your performance isn't great, and that could have maybe been rectified by going to bed an hour earlier and not having your phone in your hand. But I think now it's just the way society is. Now everything that wants to grab our attention is in the palm of your hand. And the more that's in your hand, the more you look at it, the more those companies are winning. But I think sometimes we all have to roll with that and accept that's what's happening. But I see that as a major thing with the kids I coach, that there's just too much on the social media side of it.
Yeah, it's there, and it's a constant.
Yeah.
You know, it never. I have 2 daughters; they're exactly the same. You know,
you kind of fear as well. I think, like with my son, where's that going to go to when he has kids? You know, if he's not prepared to put the phone away at that time of night, and then you know, it's just, you don't know where it's going to go to. But you kind of do. You have to work with them, and it's just the way the times are. But I just try to instill discipline, how they carry themselves for their team or themselves, and make sure that they're consistent in every aspect. And their nutrition, their hydration, their sleep, and their training, because the training is only a small part of it.
And as you say, literally you can just be a yard off in professional sport at your level. It's huge.
Remember, I think that there's a story about, I always tell them about Roy Keane and why they should never give up on this. I think Roy Keane, when he played for Cove, and I think they were playing a final or something like that, and they were getting beat. They beat something, I think it was like 7-0 or 8-0, and I think he was the only player in the whole, out of the two teams that got picked and scouted, because his attitude was right, and he never gave up. And they have to have that attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting stuck in and keeping getting stuck in, even when things aren't great.
Yeah, but even head up and shoulders back and just work.
Yeah,
work hard for yourself, work hard for the team, and be prepared to do that.
As we alluded to earlier, you had some people that would have helped you with that down the years. People, I mean, you shared changing rooms with people like Stephen Baxter, for instance, who's went on now to manage for 19 years at Crusaders. Yeah. David Jeffrey, Roy Walker. Anybody else in your life was a huge influence?
I do, and my dad has asked me that before, and I do feel I'm blessed that way to have been surrounded by a lot of big characters and a lot of people who've been very influential. And there's one thing, Billy Murray probably for me is he would be up there with them all, because he's a multiple world champion. His work ethic he's so driven, so determined to succeed, not only for what he did for himself, but for everybody around him as fighters, and he's done that so multiple times. And I've been fortunate to be in change rooms, as you said, with David Jeffries, with Roy Walker, Billy Murray, and they're all winners, so they all have that mentality, and it's hard work and discipline, and that's what it is. It's hard work and discipline. You either do it or you don't do it.
They did it for you back then and brought you through and helped instill that in you. You're now doing it with young people yourself, and I notice you do quite a lot with young people, but you do a lot with charity, and I know you did something recently for charity in regards to a young MMA fighter who got a bad...
We're doing that. That's to be done because the weather. So we did a few years ago. I walked every peak in the mornings. Well, not every peak. There's 50 mountains in the mornings, but we did the big 7. So I rode 3,200 meters at each of those peaks, and that was to signify the amount of, only each one was to signify the amount of people who had sadly passed from suicide. So we gave those out to 3 or 4 suicide awareness charities, and raised about over 30 grand for that. So we decided, because Ryan unfortunately suffered a very badly broken back, and he's in hospital, and we're aiming to get that done before the end of April for him, to see if we can just help raise awareness and raise a little bit more money. But we're going to go up Sleeve Donard and Burna, and we're going to row 38,000 to see, which signifies the height up Sleeve Donard and K2 put together, and then back down again.
Am I right in saying you take a rowing machine with you?
Up, yeah, carry it on your back. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think that bit alone I'd be done, let alone rowing at the top.
Yes, we did that, and the other one took us about 14 hours, so it was good. And the 7 peaks, I think that this one arguably, and the reason we haven't done that yet is because the weather, it's a little bit cold, and if you're on the rowing machine and if you've got people up with you, they get very cold very quick. So we just have to be very aware that it's safe for the people that are up walking with you, because once you stop walking up there at this time of the year, if there's a wind chill, you cool down a lot very fast. The row itself will take me about an hour and 15 minutes to row, because we've got to do sort of 18,000 metres on each peak, and about 19,000 on each of the peaks. So it'll be about an hour and 15, an hour and a half, and then on each of the peaks. So it's a long enough row.
Oh, fair play to you. That's all I can say. So that's.
I'll give you a shout when you need help.
I'll take photographs. But yeah, it's worth mentioning. I think it's Ryan Curtis, is the name of the young lad. It's some horrific injuries.
Terrible, awful, and just, it's the nature of that sport. I'm wearing them a stand up, and like, Injuries can happen anywhere in any sport, and just what happened to him was just pretty horrific, But hopefully, God willing, he'll come through it and get some sort of value from life. I think he's got a little bit more movement now in his hands, his upper body, which is good response. But unfortunately, I don't think he'll be back in the ring ever.
Yeah, well, if anybody listening can help with that, I would urge them to get in touch with you. And
I pass on the details, certainly, of course.
Of course. And you also, another young person, obviously, you work with famously is Leah McCourt.
Worked with Leah, a number of years ago, and she's obviously from Saintfield as well. Yeah. So Leah, I would have trained Leah a few years ago at the very, very start, and then she's obviously just gone into a completely different athlete now, and she's just fantastic. She's so inspiring for so many people, not just females but males as well. And she's got some fantastic people around her now that coach her and train her, and she's more or less based in Liverpool for her camps and stuff. But she's amazing. She really is, and what she's done for herself and her family, but not only them, but for that sport in general and for the people here is just. It's absolutely immense, and she's just really unfortunate there with that. She got injured there right before the Bellator in Belfast, so she had to pull out. But it would be fantastic to see her fight Cyborg for this title, which would be a huge fight for her, and a huge fight for MMA as well.
Yeah, well, who would have thought it? Saintfield is a hotbed for talent,
I know,
including yourself.
I don't know about that, but no, she's done so well, and she's a great girl.
It's obviously, it would be great to see Leah fighting in Belfast.
Yes.
You had the luxury of, you were able to do that at the Waterfront. Just one last thing, really, take us back to that night. How much did adrenaline play a part in your victory as well as talent and people there?
I always preferred fighting away from home. I never really liked fighting at home. I always thought there's more pressure, there's more eyes on you. The kickboxing for me, we travelled all over Europe. It was great, like everywhere. France, Cyprus, Portugal, Switzerland, Germany, everywhere. It was great. Met loads of great people, and it was a great sport to be involved in. And I always thought, if you're not nervous, there's something wrong. I always thought, because nerves, adrenaline give you that little bit of an edge, and as well, and it's how you manage that. And I'd be big. I would have been big back then, and I tell all the kids now as well. I was big into like visualizing the walk in, the way in, visualizing certain aspects of the fight. Because if you can visualize that and see that in your head before that happens, then when that happens on that night, you're not going to be maybe as nervous or as on edge. But I always did say the first time that you're not nervous is the time to walk away, because I just think nerves are good if you can manage them.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. And you've obviously been able to do that very well, but you've also, you've had a fantastic footballing career. I know you're maybe a bit hard on yourself in regards to that, but you had a great career there up until 26, whenever you decided that you didn't want to play anymore, and then kickboxing obviously as well. And now your business is going from strength to strength, which is great to see also.
Yeah, the business is good. I think for anybody, especially my game, I didn't after sport for me it was great, and it's good that I can sort of pass that on to people, and especially those young ones coming through now. But business is like sports, like anything. You sort of have to work hard at it. It just doesn't come. Well, if you're lucky, it does come to the palm of your hand. But I enjoy it, and I know there's that old cliche, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. I do genuinely feel like that. It's it at times doesn't feel like work for me. It's just something that I love doing, which is nice, and that helps to manage the stress a wee bit.
In the website itself, when people go on there, they're going to be greeted with different things that they can sign up to and avail of. Mm-hmm. What is on the website in regards to different membership tiers?
There's different tiers there. You can do different packages. So the online package that we have for the live sessions, you can either do your body weight or your HIIT session. So if you don't have any access to any gym equipment, kettlebells or dumbbells, then you can do a package there. It's only £25 a month. And then the next package is £35 a month, that you'll get all your strength sessions and your Metcon sessions. So You basically get 20 sessions a month for that. And then the top one, you get nutrition on that and yoga as well. So there's a lot in there for that price. And obviously, if anybody has any questions, they can ask me. I'm always there on that, which a lot of people do. They can avail of that. So it's not just a case of it. If anybody's a member, I'm always there to help them out, and they can avail of that. So I like to think it's a little bit more personal for them, where they actually know the coach. It's not just a blank space they're looking at. And I'm there to help anybody with whatever their goals are. And I also, obviously, the online package as well. If they don't want to do those live workouts or the on-demand workouts, then I can write them a program specifically for them, for the equipment that they have, either in the gym or at home. So there's quite a lot there for them. I like to see it as like a one-stop shop for anybody that just wants to get fit and active. The nutrition's there, the exercise is there. There's yoga and there's Pilates, so there's stuff for relaxation, de-stressing, a little bit of everything, and there's some great articles on blogs on it as well. So
excellent.
It's all there, and hopefully it reads well and looks well, since it was handmade. But hopefully so.
And it's also the case then that if somebody wants to do it physically and in person, they can still get in touch with you.
They can still get in touch with me there. So yeah,
okay.
They can do that, or any of the stuff with the PPA, which is the Peak Performance Academy for the kids, the young athletes. If they have any questions, they can certainly contact me there to go on that, and yeah, it's all there.
There we go. Nobody's got any excuse now, including myself. So
no excuses.
You can tell by talking to you, no matter what you put your mind to, you'll work hard at it. You've got that attitude, that mentality, and that serves you so well. But Ian, I really, really appreciate you coming in and giving your time to us.
It's been great to be here. Thank you so much.
Brilliant having you, and I wish you every success going forward.
Thank you.